Nintendo looks to be starting their engines early in 2018 as 18 new Switch placeholders have been spotted on Amazon.com. What's going on, everybody? It's Zach from Switchforce. Gabe is here, and our trusty Twitter friend Wario64 came in clutch with the find that Amazon put up 18 new Nintendo Switch placeholder listings, 14 of which can be pre-ordered. Some are at 60, some are at 100, but all of them have a picture that says, just announced the Nintendo Switch event, box art coming soon. Now, we know that it's been heavily rumored that there is a January Direct, and it looks like this is Amazon preparing for such an event, and with a lot of games, Gabe, 18. Some of them obviously are clearly special editions, but still, it's a lot of new announcements.
A ton. And one of them did get kind of revealed to be Project Octopath Traveler. So that's one of the 18 that now has an actual game attached to it. But everything else, it leaves a lot to speculation. The prices do vary from, regular $60 to $75 to $100, like you mentioned.
Yeah, and there's no guarantee that all of these pan out, but the fact that Amazon is listing them and listing them in such a way that it's not just a blank page, but it does say just announced the Nintendo Switch event, box art coming soon, leads us to believe that this January event is going to be pretty massive and pretty substantial. And remember, these are retail titles, so in addition to whatever they announce digitally and on the indie front, there are going to be a lot of announcements for new cartridge-based physical games, and that's something that we obviously have been clamoring for. What the heck is coming out? What are the releases? And if this is to be believed, it looks like Nintendo is going to start the year off right and give us those details earlier and sooner rather than later. I think it's interesting that some are at this $100 price point. Does that in any way indicate that these are bigger titles? Because to get a special edition, I mean, it's either third party where everything gets a special edition, or it's a bigger Nintendo title, right?
Yes, that's what I wanted to touch on. The fact that it could be third party. Mm-hmm. There's not a ton of third party stuff coming early that I can think of. I know Far Cry is coming, but not to Switch. Not that we know of. So it could be just third party having some big announcements. But Zach, the other thing I wanted to touch on here, right? 18 slots, 17 if you Project Octopath Traveler. The cool thing is Metroid Prime 4, Kirby, and Yoshi were all also listed. Separate listings, these do not take place over these 18 that we are talking about. But right. The interesting thing that I just thought about was for each one of those games that I just mentioned, there are two listings. Exact same price. So Yoshi has two listings, one for regular physical, one for digital code. So these 18 listings aren't necessarily 18 separate games. Same with Metroid.
True.
There's two separate Metroid Prime 4 listings. One physical, one digital. Same with Kirby. So
this list could easily be slashed in half, and then given the $99 and even some of the $79 slots could be slashed in half again. So we could be looking at potentially 4 games.
Yes, so I want to make sure that people temper their expectations. And since I did mention Metroid Prime, it has a placeholder date of December 2018. I don't...
Which is just the generic...
Yeah.
Throw it in there for any game. Every game with that date is listed as December 31st of an upcoming year, so don't take any stock in that. Sometimes we'll get notes or emails showing it's coming out December 31st. That date is just a universal. We have no clue when this is coming date for video games.
Yeah. And it's a weird morning, right? Because they also listed Bayonetta 3, which we are pretty certain isn't coming in 2018. But, yeah. That's also listed for pre-order. Unless, Nintendo is going to do the unthinkable and have Metroid and Bayonetta and Kirby and Yoshi and a ton more surprises. I don't know what you do in year 3 if that's the case. But, kudos to Nintendo. If all of these games do come out in 2018, which, again, it doesn't necessarily mean they will, that's going to be insane.
Yeah, I think the most important takeaway here is that it looks like this January event is about as legit as you can get before actually being announced. So hopefully it happens in the coming weeks. If Amazon's prepping, then you'd like to believe that this thing is a little short few days or weeks away. I think a early January, mid-January Direct would really set things up nicely and kind of set the tone for the coming year. So let us know what you think about these listings, what games you think could possibly be announced, how many of these do you think are duplicates, third-party, first-party, where do you think they're going with this, any extra sleuthing that you may have done on your own or other sites, let us know that as well. We're always curious. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to stay tuned. We'll keep you up to date if we hear anything more, and once the Direct itself is actually announced, we will be on that. So make sure to subscribe. Thanks so much for watching. Hope you guys have a fantastic day. Kicking things off in cool style. It seems like that's Nintendo's plan for 2018, and we'll be there with them. So until next time, for myself and Gabe, Switch Force out.